Our next guest is a very funny writer, actress, and best-selling author whose new movie, I Love You Forever, will be in select theaters on Friday, February 7th, and on demand February 14th. Let's take a look.
I swear that girl he was with has gone out with every single one of my Hinge matches.
How do you know that?
Every guy I've hooked up with in the last 2 years follows her on Instagram. It's not a coincidence. We're on the same dating algorithm.
She's really pretty, so maybe it's the hot girl algorithm.
She is really pretty. Thank you for that.
Please welcome back to the show our friend Cassie David, everybody! I'm so happy you're here.
And I'm so happy to be here. And I'm not scared of any of you.
You've talked in the past about how you are embarrassed just by the very act of being a guest on a talk show and the self-promotion that comes with it.
Right. Well, it's like if you asked me if I could go on Seth, I would say no because I'm too anxious. But when I'm asked, it's like, will you go on Seth in a couple months?
Right.
And it's like, well, maybe future Cassie can figure that out, you know?
Yeah.
Like maybe future Cassie could be on Seth.
Yeah. And this is your third time. Has future Cassie ever come through for you?
So it's future Cassie right now.
Yeah.
And it's like, I can't do this, you know?
Do you feel like future Cassie is in fact almost exactly like past Cassie?
I need to start realizing that, you know? It's like, I can't get it together.
Last time you left after the last time you were here, which for me was a wonderful experience, but you had some shame about something that happened.
Well, always, yeah.
Okay.
But there's always something that's gonna go wrong.
Okay, so what do you feel like went wrong last time?
Well, the main thing that went wrong was that it happened so quickly. Like
Okay.
it was like, first of all, there's way too much to remember. So you're walking out, posture, you know?
Yeah.
Smile, wave. Like
Yeah.
I definitely messed that up.
Yeah.
I don't know what I did.
Posture, smile, wave doesn't seem like impossible to remember.
I mean, that's basically like half of a dance choreography already.
You're right. That's true. I take it
You know,
back.
it's like way too much to remember. But then obviously I was walking in.
Yeah.
And no one had warned me as part of the dance choreography that there would be like an interaction with you.
Well, it's not an interaction. I just come out, and then I offered you a hand because, you know, I wanted to, you know, gentlemen, you know, help you up the stairs.
Yeah.
And you feel like you did not take the hand in a way you were happy with.
No.
Okay.
No. It was.
By the way,
not
of course,
good.
I had no memory about it, but we
Yeah.
did pull the clip.
Well, I was happy to remind you. Yeah.
Okay. This is, and then we'll show it, and then you can, maybe when it's over, you can
Yeah.
talk through what happened. All
Yeah,
right.
sure. I mean, that's really bad.
So what, it's not that bad.
It was like I'd never seen, no one had ever offered me a hand before. It was like an alien was pretending to be a human on late night. And then they went like this, and it was like, what do I do?
How much of the following 9 minutes that we were talking were you thinking about that?
You know, I knew something had gone awry.
Yeah.
It could have been anything.
Oh, so you knew something.
When
something
I watched it back, I was like, that's what it was. Yeah.
Did you receive any advice this time as far as how to maybe be less anxious?
Yeah, I mean, there's only a few people you can ask.
Yep.
My dad goes on late night all the time.
Your dad, Larry David, is a guest on this show. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah.
So he's a good resource.
No, but he's not.
Okay.
I mean, he gives the worst advice, particularly for this, because he was like, you know, don't prepare anything.
That's his advice?
Yeah, he said, you don't want to prepare anything. Everyone's going to know you came up with some quirky story. It's performative. But I don't know if you've seen him on late night. Like, he spends the entire time, like, he'll sit down. He'll just be like, yeah, this is a nice chair. You know? Like, you ever sit in these chairs?
Yeah, I think he might have done exactly.
Do you do this with the legs, or... You know, anyone ever lie down on this one?
That's a very good impression of how...
The entire segment is,
Yeah.
you know, just, this is interesting over here, what you have.
Congratulations, you co-wrote, you co-directed, and you co-star in this film. That is quite an accomplishment. This is also, I think when you do all three of those roles, you see that maybe it's humbling, right? There are things that happen in a movie while you're making it that you've maybe been judgmental of when you were watching a movie. Was there anything that you discovered at the making of this?
Yeah, no, it was definitely humbling. I usually, when I watch a movie, I criticize the entire thing top to bottom.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is stupid, this is wrong,
Yeah.
I tear it up.
Yeah.
It had never occurred to me that someone could not like their own movie,
Yes.
Which I do like my movie, but that's not the point. The point is that, like, you don't realize there could be a scene or something that you find, like, why would they put this in? Like, they might be thinking, like, I can't believe this is in.
Yeah.
But you just don't have a choice.
So there's something in your movie that you have an issue with?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I'll give you one example.
Yeah.
There's many things, of course.
Okay.
But I stand by it, You have to.
Yeah.
Like a child,
So, all right, you love the movie like a child.
No, I think people say that. What I mean is that, like, if your child gets into trouble at school or your child does something stupid, you're like, oh my God, my child's an idiot, but, like, I have to stand by my child. Like, I love my child. But no, we had this. For example, something in the movie is it's an indie movie, so everyone had like 3 jobs. And our like COVID nurse also happened to be in charge of background casting.
Right. These are the actors who don't have lines that are in the background of scenes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is kind of strange. Like, how do those two things go together?
Yeah.
But she would ask us before, a couple scenes, like, how many people do you want for the scenes? And usually it'd be like 2. There weren't that many people in the movie. There weren't that many extras. But there was this one scene that was a party scene. It's supposed to be my birthday in the movie. And the whole point is that I invite like every guy in my DMs because I'm like a desperate loser who like wants to have sex with someone on my birthday. And so we told her, like, we're gonna need 50 men for this party scene. And she was like, got it. Obviously, day of the scene arrives. We set up the shot. We're ready for the scene. And we go, okay, bring on the extras. And we just hear like a muffled voice in the corner that's like, they're there. Like, everyone's in. And it was like 5 women and like 1 guy in like a chevron, like printed shirt. And it's like, that's a big problem, especially because all of the lines are like, oh my God, this party's so packed with men. Because I know what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
So that I have a real problem
Yeah.
with. And I wonder if people watching, are gonna go like, this isn't packed.
Yeah. So
Especially
this is a good, this is one where you almost want them to hear the DVD commentary track.
Exactly.
Do you think the issue was that you had a COVID nurse as your background person?
Yeah.
And that you were like, we need 50 people, and she was like, low-key, like, that's a super
Right.
spreader event?
Yeah.
You get 6?
Yeah, that's very possible. That's incredible.
This is I know this is a very personal movie, and it's about a very serious subject, but it also very funny in parts, and it's coming out on Valentine's Day. But this is not a rom-com per se, or at all.
No. It does deal with some serious topics, but it's like not meant to be heavy-handed or preachy. But yeah, like me and many of my friends and my collaborator had all like had, a version of a relationship that kind of began as a rom-com and then ended in some kind of like absurdist horror. So it's actually a very grounded movie in that respect, but yeah, it's meant to be relatable if you've had that kind of experience.
It was you know my wife very well, and we started watching the movie, and she like turned to me in the rom-com part to be like, this guy's great. I wish you were more like that. And so when it went into the absurdist horror part, I was like, see.
Right. Well, I was very upset that you guys had.
Well, yeah, they showed it at Martha's Vineyard. There was a screening.
Yeah.
At the Martha's Vineyard Film Festival.
Not happy about it.
You were not psyched that your mom arranged this.
No.
You were not there.
No,
Yeah.
certainly not.
And what was your fear?
Well, the problem was that they offered to have this screening at the Martha's Vineyard Film Festival.
Yeah.
Which is a great film festival. But I was like, this is not the right demographic for this movie.
It's a very young movie about
Yeah.
modern people going through
Yes.
romance.
Yeah, I was like, this can't happen,
Yeah.
And my mom was like, they show so many different movies and there's so many different people. Like, trust me, it's gonna be great. So I'm like, okay, fine. Night of the screening, I kind of get I got a text from my mom. It's like one of those 360 videos of the audience.
That I think only moms take.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she wrote like Full House with it. And I watched the video, and it is a sea of gray. And then in the corner, I see Seth Meyers, and I go, Like, oh God, you know? Like, that's bad. By the way, I got a lot of texts from that screening, a lot of like, we're here texts.
Uh-huh. Nothing after?
No. Like, still waiting. Yeah, it didn't go well.
Can I just say something? And I do want everybody watching at home, everybody go back. You nailed the hand today. Nailed it. And the movie's fantastic. Thank you so much for coming back. It is always so good to see you, Kelsey. Kelsey David, everybody, I love you forever. We'll be in theaters on Friday, February 7th. Stick around. We'll be right back.